Giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, that will not see the apostles, elders, and brothers on down, well in this truth and this ministry from. Salutations to the hopefully elect. This is your brother Rai Banyamyan, here to share another video, another lesson. This one I'm gonna call poverty, and homelessness. As these days go on, we're hearing about food prices going up. People are losing their jobs, their homes. It could be loss of homage by fire, flood, or just unwilling or unfortunate circumstances like losing your jobs and stuff, right? So I just want to share this article. There's a very good article by a Jake woman, of the situation that she went through when she became homeless. So the name of the article is Lori Teresa Yearwood, My Bill for Being Homeless in Salt Lake City was $54,000. Right? So I read it again. Lori Teresa Yearwood, My Bill for Being Homeless in Salt Lake City was $54,000. That's the name of the article, and the source is the Salt Lake Tribune. Salt Lake Tribune. All right. So first, before I get into the article, I want to share the script here real quick. In the book of Sirach 2, verse 4. It says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate." All right. Reading on in the article. No, 1 second. It says, "My journey into homelessness was traumatic, but it was incredibly expensive, and that's what I want to focus on here. By the time I walked away from that park bench 2 years ago, I had accrued more than $54,000 in debt." It says, "These bills are another way that the American society criminalizes people experiencing homelessness. Hidden penalties that can start with the towing and impound of the vehicles people sleep in, and that can continue with a long list of misdemeanors such as loitering, camping, asking for money in public, and even standing in one place for too long." This article is pretty long, but I'll kind of skip around. So if you want to read the whole thing, the source again is the Salt Lake Tribune. "Sexual assault of women living on the streets are a frequent occurrence, I later learned, and they can also lead to death. Vast amounts of deliberating, suffocating death. The cost of my ambulance rides to various hospitals as a result of that trauma amounted to nearly $4,000. The hospital bills for subsequent treatment were over $48,000 charged to me, as the hospital administrators later said, because I refused to talk and therefore they didn't know I was homeless." Alright. Alright, so she said that they were homeless. She said, "A local church agreed to help me with the security deposit, for an apartment. After about a year there, the IRS came after me for penalties. Wow. For penalties due on taxes I had already paid. The agency said I owed $2,300 in fines." It's like one problem after another. First, being homeless, being sexually assaulted, and being charged bills upon bills, for medical treatment. So with that, I just want to hit in the book of Amos, the 5th chapter and the 19th verse. It says, as if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, and went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. So the situation portrayed in Amos 5 and 19 is indicative that what she was going through was like situation after situation, problem after problem that she couldn't get out of. And so continue on in the article. Let's see if I can scroll on. This is really long. It's locked here. All right, it says, continue on. It says, I spent the first year of my homelessness suffering abuse. I spent most of the second year behind bars after a complaint that I had bathed in a public river near Salt Lake City. Okay, wow. I was incarcerated from September 2016 to March 2017. Although the debtors' prisons were officially abolished in America in 1833, I paid my fines by sitting in an 8 by 10 foot cell for 6 months. So let me look up debtors' prison. Debtors' prison. Alright, it says here, debtors' prison is a prison for people who were unable to pay debt. Through the mid-19th century, debtors' prisons were a common way to deal with unpaid debt in Western Europe. Destitute persons who were unable to pay a court-ordered judgment were incarcerated in these prisons until they had worked off their debt via labor or secured outside funds, by family, to pay the balance. The product of their labor went towards the cost of their incarceration and their accrued debt. I mean, to me, that is, even though it was abolished in paper in 1833, I mean, to me, this still happens today, because in prison you still have to work for a lesser wage. Towards your sentence, you still have to pay, parole fees and fines and court costs and all of this other stuff. Plus your family is still allowed to bring different household toiletries or whatever it is you could use in the prisons. So I mean, to me, the prisons, the debtors' prison still exists. But going back to the article, it's a really good article. It's very, very long, but the Jake woman, she was explaining her situation, how she had everything, because she was in the article she was showing how her father worked for NASA and all this other stuff, right? So she had things, and then due to her situation, she went all out, on the street. She was assaulted and she had all these bills, and she went to prison. So her situation would be similar to what we may go through in the times of Jacob's trouble, which is not far from now. So it is just a lesson to to get the Akim and the Akwat myself first and foremost, we need to ready our minds for what could happen. We may lose things. We may lose our jobs. We may lose our residence. We may lose our vehicles, right? And we may be placed on the street, So we need to pray and ask the Lord Most High, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai, for strength and a spirit of endurance to endure these things, and to just trust Him. So lastly, I want to read this as a solution and also as an encouragement, instead of just stating the problem and what could happen, because the Lord is going to have our back regardless of what situation we go through. So this is Psalms chapter 34 verse 17, and I want to read from 17 all the way down to 20. It says, "The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivered them out of all their troubles. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit." So I'm going to look that up. What is a contrite spirit? It says, contrite, feeling regret or sorrow for one's sins or offenses. Penitent, right? So I read that again. It says the Lord, this is Psalm 34 and 18. It says, "The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit," right? So regretting sins, right? Pretty much repentant. "Many are the afflictions of the righteous." So you see how the woman, she went through many different situations. So, the Lord, is trying to, cleanse us and test us. We are going to go through many afflictions, right? It says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth him out of them all. He keepeth all his bones, and none of them is broken." So even though, we're going through it, when you take over the sins and the trials, Jacob's trouble, the Lord is going to make a way out for us. The way out may not be the way that we may like, but at the end of the day, it is His will, and this is His story, right? So hopefully this lesson was edifying, right, and also encouraging. This is your brother I Banyamian, here to share another video, another lesson, right? I hope you're well edified. Shalom.